As the festive lights glow across the UK, everyone's wondering, will December bring a true deep freeze, or just another mild, rainy winter? The answer isn't simple. Meteorologists are watching dramatic events high above us that could shape our weather in surprising ways. Memories of past winters, when snowdrifts blocked roads and the country froze, make us wonder if it could happen again. This year, a major event in the stratosphere, a sudden stratospheric warming, could disrupt our weather patterns. But the atmosphere is unpredictable, and forecasting its next move is a real challenge. We'll explore the science behind these winter patterns, from the polar vortex to the latest forecasts. Was October's cold snap just a preview, or the start of something bigger? Let's piece together the clues and see what this December might hold for the UK. Will it be extra layers and icy roads, or just more umbrellas? Let's find out. To truly understand the twists and turns of our winter weather, we need to look far above our heads, beyond the clouds and into the stratosphere, a layer of the atmosphere that sits high above the Earth's surface. While we often focus on what's happening at ground level, it's up here, in this thin, cold region, that some of the most dramatic weather events begin to unfold. Occasionally, a remarkable phenomenon called sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, takes place. During an SSW, temperatures in the stratosphere above the North Pole can skyrocket by as much as 40 degrees Celsius in just a few days. This isn't a gentle warming, but a rapid and powerful surge that can set off a cascade of changes throughout the atmosphere. This sudden burst of warmth disrupts the polar vortex, a vast ring of strong winds that usually circles the Arctic and keeps the coldest air trapped near the pole. The polar vortex acts like a barrier, holding back frigid Arctic air from spilling south. But when the vortex is disturbed by an SSW, it can weaken, wobble, or even split into two, sending cold air surging into new regions. This sets off a chain reaction, altering wind patterns and weather systems, and sometimes leading to weeks of unusual weather far from the Arctic. SSWs don't happen every winter, but when they do, their impact can be felt across the entire northern hemisphere. From North America to Europe and Asia, these events can reshape weather patterns, bringing unexpected cold snaps, snowstorms, or even milder spells depending on how the atmosphere responds. This year, December's SSW is arriving earlier than usual, making it a particularly fascinating event for meteorologists and climate scientists. They're closely monitoring the stratosphere, eager to see how this early warming might influence the rest of the winter. Think of the stratosphere as the conductor of a grand orchestra. When it changes tempo, the entire symphony of our weather, winds, clouds, and temperatures, responds in harmony or sometimes in chaos. By studying SSW, scientists hope to unlock the secrets behind sudden cold spells and better predict when and where they might strike. It's the first step in solving the mystery of a possible December freeze. Although the warming itself happens high above us, its effects ripple downward, changing the winds, shifting the jet stream, and ultimately altering the temperatures and weather we experience on the ground. That's why this SSW has become the talk of the town, with everyone wondering if a cold spell is on the way, and how it might shape our winter in the weeks to come. High above the North Pole, a powerful force is at work, the polar vortex. This swirling mass of icy air circles the Arctic like a giant atmospheric moat, separating the frigid polar region from the milder air to the south. Imagine it as a spinning top, whirling with energy, usually keeping the Arctic's deep freeze locked in place. When the vortex is strong and stable, it acts as a barrier, holding the cold at bay. Under these conditions, the UK tends to experience milder, wetter winters. Atlantic air flows in, bringing rain and relatively gentle temperatures, while the Arctic chill stays far to the north. But sometimes, a dramatic event called sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, strikes. This rapid heating in the upper atmosphere disrupts the vortex, shaking its stability. The vortex can slow down, start to wobble, or even split apart entirely. The invisible fence that keeps the Arctic air contained weakens, and the cold begins to leak out. When this happens, frigid Arctic air can escape its usual boundaries and surge southward, sometimes in dramatic fashion. The path this cold air takes depends on how the atmosphere rearranges itself after the disruption. The jet stream can buckle, sending cold blasts to unexpected places. Sometimes the vortex splits into several smaller swirls, each carrying a pocket of Arctic cold. Or, the vortex can shift off-center, sending waves of cold air to regions that aren't usually in the firing line. This is how SSW events can trigger severe winter outbreaks, unleashing snowstorms and icy blasts across Europe, North America, or even Asia, sometimes all at once. The once stable spinning top is knocked off balance, and pieces of Arctic cold can slide south, bringing sudden freezing temperatures to places unprepared for such extremes. The UK's fate hangs in the balance, depending on where those pieces of cold air land. A direct hit can mean snow, ice, and bitter winds sweeping across the country. That's why meteorologists are watching the polar vortex so closely this year, because a single shift in this Arctic spinning top could change the course of winter for millions. When the polar vortex weakens, the jet stream, the fast-moving river of air steering our weather, starts to meander. This high-altitude wind, which usually keeps cold Arctic air locked up to the north, loses its grip. As a result, the boundaries between cold and warm air masses become blurred, and the weather becomes much more unpredictable. The jet stream's path, once relatively straight and stable, begins to wobble and twist, setting the stage for dramatic changes in our weather patterns. Instead of a straight path, it forms big loops. Where it dips south, Arctic air can pour in, bringing cold and snow. Where it bulges north, milder air arrives. These undulations, known as troughs and ridges, act like gates, either opening the door to icy blasts or shutting them out. The position and size of these loops can shift rapidly, making it challenging for forecasters to predict exactly where the coldest air will land. The UK's weather depends on where these troughs and ridges set up after an SSW. If a deep trough forms over the British Isles, we can expect a spell of wintry weather, with the potential for snow, ice, and biting winds. But if a ridge dominates, milder Atlantic air can sweep in, keeping temperatures above average and bringing rain instead of snow. If a trough settles over us, we get a cold spell. If a ridge, we stay mild. This delicate balance can shift from week to week, or even day to day, making the UK's winter weather famously fickle. Sometimes we see dramatic swings, snow one week, spring-like warmth the next. Looking at past early SSW events, the deepest cold often hit North America, while Europe saw only brief chills. This is because the jet stream's loops don't always line up the same way each time. Sometimes, the coldest air is funneled across the Atlantic, while other years it stays locked over Canada and the US, sparing Europe from the worst. But every SSW is unique and surprises are always possible. Even seasoned meteorologists can be caught off guard by sudden shifts in the jet stream, leading to unexpected cold snaps, or unseasonably mild spells. The atmosphere is a complex system, and small changes high above the Arctic can ripple out in unpredictable ways. An SSW opens the door for Arctic air, but doesn't guarantee a freeze. It simply increases the odds that cold air could break through, depending on how the jet stream behaves in the weeks that follow. Sometimes the cold air never quite makes it, and the UK escapes with only a brief chill. It can take weeks for the effects to reach the surface, which is why forecasters are eyeing late December and January. The atmosphere needs time to respond to the changes set in motion by an SSW, and the impacts can unfold slowly, sometimes catching people off guard after the initial event has faded from the headlines. The process is slow and complex, but the potential for a cold snap is real. Even as temperatures fluctuate, the risk of sudden, sharp cold remains, especially if the jet stream dips south at just the right moment. This is why meteorologists keep a close watch on every twist and turn. We're now watching to see where the waves of cold air will break. Each new forecast brings updated models and shifting probabilities, keeping both experts and the public on their toes as winter unfolds. The UK could get anything from a glancing chill to a direct hit. It all depends on how the jet stream sets up in the coming weeks and whether Arctic air finds a clear path south. Only time, and the jet stream, will tell. For now, we watch, wait, and prepare for whatever winter has in store. We don't have to look far back to remember what an Arctic blast feels like. In late October, a sudden shift in wind direction brought cold air straight from the north, dropping temperatures and making it feel even colder with biting winds. The Met Office called it the coldest spell so far this season, and snow dusted the Scottish Highlands and high peaks in northern England and Wales. It was a vivid reminder of how quickly UK weather can flip from mild to frosty. This event was a mini version of what a major SSW can trigger on a larger scale. The October snap showed how vulnerable the UK is to Arctic air when the setup is right. It's a preview of what could happen if the current SSW sends more cold our way. Will December bring another short chill or something much bigger? UK cold spells are usually short-lived, thanks to the Atlantic Ocean's influence. Our prevailing westerly winds bring milder, moist air, making long freezes rare. Cold snaps happen when high pressure blocks the Atlantic flow, letting Arctic air in, like in October. But the Atlantic is relentless. After a few days, milder air usually returns, melting snow and ending the frost. This rapid switch from cold to mild is a hallmark of UK winters. Even if the SSW brings Arctic air, it will have to fight the Atlantic's influence. Only exceptionally strong, stable blocking patterns can keep the cold in place for weeks, a rare event. More likely we'll see brief cold snaps followed by a return to unsettled, milder weather. The UK's climate is just too variable for deep freezes to last. So, what do the latest forecasts say for the UK this December? With a major SSW in progress, models are uncertain, but a general theme is emerging. A period of colder than average weather is possible, especially in Scotland and northern England, with frost and some snow, likely on higher ground. For southern areas, the signal for cold is weaker, maybe just a brief dip in temperatures. The final outcome depends on where high and low pressure systems set up after the SSW. A small shift could mean the difference between a cold snap and a mild spell. Even if a deep freeze is unlikely, the SSW will make our weather more volatile, with alternating cold snaps and milder periods. The consensus points away from a historic freeze, but towards a dynamic, changeable winter. The atmosphere is still evolving, so forecasts could shift quickly. For now, expect a lively end to the year, with surprises still possible. While the UK's fate is uncertain, North America is bracing for a much deeper freeze. Forecasts and past SSW events suggest the jet stream will buckle, sending the coldest Arctic air south over the US and Canada. This setup creates a deep trough, opening a corridor for frigid air and major winter storms. Meanwhile, a ridge over the Atlantic may shield the UK from the worst cold. This pattern played out in years like 1958 and 2000. North America shivered, while Europe saw only modest cooling. Global weather is interconnected. A deep freeze in one region often means milder weather elsewhere. This year, the most extreme cold looks set for North America, not the UK. So, will Arctic air freeze the UK this December? The door is open, but a historic deep freeze looks unlikely. Instead, expect colder spells in the north and a few sharp chills elsewhere, but not a winter-long freeze. The best advice: stay updated with trusted forecasts like the Met Office. As the situation can change quickly, prepare your home and car for cold snaps, and keep warm clothing handy. UK weather is famously unpredictable. Even without a major freeze, winter brings its share of frost, ice, and snow. The drama in the stratosphere is a reminder of nature's power, and its surprises. Stay informed, stay prepared, and enjoy the festive season. The final chapter of this winter's story is still being written.